So I am back from my travels in Peru. My mind has been completely blown and I've got some great content to share with you guys. So firstly, there was my 7-day ayahuasca retreat at Arkana in the Sacred Valley, where as well as the usual trip reports and overall review of the centre, I got to sit down and put some questions to the resident shaman. In addition to the ayahuasca ceremonies that I went there for, I also took part in some additional activities such as a rapé ceremony and a temazcal sweat lodge. And yeah, I'll let you know what I thought about that. It's a lot of content and I'm going to try and put out something every week until I get through it all. But to kick things off, I'd like to start with this conversation that I had with one of the Arkana facilitators called Carolina. Now, anyone who's watched any of my previous videos will know that I give a lot of credit and a lot of respect to the facilitators of these retreats for the job that they do, and I think that the value that they add to the experience is absolutely huge. And out of all of them, Carolina here is probably one of my favourites of all time. She's just awesome. I had a bunch of questions for her. Some of them were from me, some of them were from the ayahuasca community over on Reddit, who I just want to give a big shout out to. Because before I left for Peru, I made an open topic on Reddit for people to post their questions, and some of those I put to Carolina, and some of them I put to the shaman. Now for her part, Carolina was just an absolute joy to talk to, so I just want to say a big thank you to her and to all the rest of the team there at Arkana Sacred Valley who made this week so very, very special. And without any further ado, I bring you Carolina, a facilitator from Arkana in the Sacred Valley. Enjoy! Okay, so I am here with the beautiful and powerful Carolina, who's one of the facilitators here at Arkana Sacred Valley. She's agreed to answer a few questions that I picked up from Reddit and from my YouTube channel. And so I suppose a good introduction would be, how did you come to be here doing this amazing job?
Well, I come from a family of healers, and natural medicines and spiritual work for me, it was like all my childhood, my teenage time, and so it was like almost natural to seek in dark moments for medicine plant. Mm-hmm. So I started 8 years ago with the ayahuasca medicine, and immediately I was called to be like a spiritual nurse, no?
That's an excellent description. That's exactly how I perceived it last night.
It's a spiritual nurse. One of the shamans asked me to invite me to the jungle to work as a facilitator. Mm-hmm. Like no learning, no knowing about nothing, just to be at service, and of course then getting the consciousness that I must work with myself. Mm-hmm. So it was. So
does it, the way that you act, and the thing that stands out to me with yourself and the other facilitators is just this air of grace and compassion, and for somebody like me, on the kind of flip side, it's astounding. It's just such a beautiful thing to see that someone can just give such a shit about, you know, what is more or less a room full of strangers. Is this something? Does this just come naturally to you, or is this something you do you go to empathy school and work on this? Because it seems such an amazing talent.
I think it's natural, and also I think it can be born inside of you in some point of your life. Mm-hmm. I come from a healer family, but also they all nurses as well. Mm-hmm. My mother, my grandmother side. It's just when you reach the darkness, you've been there. Mm-hmm. You've been there and suffer a lot sometimes. And we look at everybody like, I wasn't there, so yeah. I will be for you, because maybe you went through the darkness alone and you needed somebody and nobody was there, so we just go for being a good companion and a sister and whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Yes. It became really obvious to me last night, and one of the conversations that I always see online is about people who choose to do ayahuasca themselves. They make it like a DIY approach versus coming to a retreat like this, and And there's always a few points of contention. It's expensive, it's time consuming. But my take on it is always there is a level of care and support that, yeah, I don't think I could do at home with Rachel. You know, there's something about that there's having these sort of, you know, strangers just show you pure love and care, and that's why I'm such a big supporter of coming on retreats like this. And I think, you know, that sort of home exploration is fine, but if you want to that healing, that place of knowing that you're safe and where you can really work on yourself, I think that can only happen here. So I guess what I'm asking is, like, what would be your message to those people who are perhaps curious about ayahuasca and they're thinking, okay, should I try and do this at home, or should I, you know, yeah, is the only way a retreat? What advice would you give there?
The advice is to be open-minded, because this is we are dealing with a spirit medicine. It's a being. All the plants, they have their souls. All the trees has their mothers in the jungle, they say. And so you're dealing with a huge spiritual world, and you will be like, if you're going to take medicine plant by your own, it will be like meeting the whole universe by yourself. And maybe we carry some darkness or some blockages, and it will be dangerous and unworthy, because you have to make a process with guidance. Then in the future you just see if you are learning more and you can achieve by your own this experience. But the best advice I can give is trust a shaman, use your heart to follow which medicine you want to go with, which shamans is calling you, because ayahuasca is a call. It's a hard call. Like, you see, yes, I will go with that medicine. Many people don't go with ayahuasca, they go with peyote or huachuma or iboga. You have to feel that, but please be aware that it's a spiritual world, and it takes years to be a shaman, to lead a ceremony. So with that respect, you approach medicines.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's particularly for Westerners like me, it's such a tough hurdle to get over, because it kind of flies in the face of, you know, Western culture, where it's kind of like science and hospitals and stuff like this, and yeah, it's when you, I must even I was skeptical at first when, you know, when they were first talking about its healing, and I was like, is it really? But when you hear and you experience it, then it's, yeah, it just clears all doubt from your mind. What do you think about this kind of expansion then of ayahuasca into the Western world? Because we're hearing now sort of, you know, I believe there's a few retreats that have opened in the US. Obviously, they're all across Peru. There's some that are opening in Europe. So something's happening. What's your thoughts on that? Is this a good thing, or does it lose the context once it comes out of Peru?
I think every one of us, it's reconnected with the natural again, worldwide. So the most popular medicines comes from the jungle or from the desert, like peyote. But in a way, I think it's very good. And I think also it's like you have to connect with your land medicine as well. Don't you forget your own land, your motherland, no? And it's a good thing to connect with the true genesis of all the things. But also, as much light it carries, as much darkness it carries also, no?
Yeah.
You have to be aware about even shamans, not only us doing bad things or improper ways to approach with medicines. So it's always the eternal balance, which is good or bad, and is eternal fight. But for me, it's good that people can open themselves to the medicines. They can reach every way to reach the true self. For me, it's a positive way.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that balance thing you talk about, I've actually got a question related to that, which bit of a dark question, but I feel it's one that's worth asking.
Yes.
Because there's recently been like a couple of like high-profile suicides that have happened at certain retreat centres.
Yes.
And I think in both cases, I think there was one at Blue Morpho and one at Rainforest Healing Centre. They were both staff members that felt they need to take their own lives. I guess my question is, how do you're here in a room full of people every week, and you are shouldering the burden of these people's problems. And I think in those particular cases, they'd taken on so much burdens that they weren't dealing with themselves. How do you find that balance so that where you're helping the people you want to help, but also making sure that you yourself are like mentally healthy? Is that a challenge?
First of all, I think it's accepting discipline. Medicines are discipline. A huge matter of consciousness and awareness, but also not judging, but it's the environment, the people who are taking care of you as well. Really thinking that approaching to a job, a service, not a job, a service like this takes a lot of strength and consciousness, and if you are feeling down, you cannot keep on working.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of everything, your own consciousness, the way the shamans take care of you. They always clean us, constantly clean us, put ourselves in dietas, special diets with plants, with bath, or taking plants for make our energy stronger. But also, it's a matter to be honest with ourselves, to not keep on going with the bad ego, like I am facilitating, I'm powerful, and then when that energy comes down, it might comes down like crashing, like it happened. There are so many reasons, but it's both worlds. Again, the balance. It's ourselves as facilitators, and also the shamans, the people that taking care of you in every single way, no?
So I suppose like the organisation as well.
Yes.
In where
Yes.
is it with the setup of this organisation? Is that something where you would be comfortable to sort of like say, I need some time for myself. I need to because you're not going to help anybody if you.
Yes, and having partners in the service that look at you and say, I think you're a little sad, or take a rest. Here in Arkana, for example, our boss, which is not a boss, no, it's a friend, he always giving us the chance to rest, to be with ourselves, to go with dietas. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. Yes.
I mean, that's exactly how it should be.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to ask your opinion on the topic of integration.
Yes.
Because this word integration, it gets thrown around a lot. It's almost a point where it's become like a kind of a psychedelic buzzword. It's like you need to integrate, make sure you integrate. My understanding is that this is kind of less of a thing for the sort of the natives of Peru, because ayahuasca is so baked into the culture that you don't necessarily need to have this, like, I need to integrate, because you can just go to anybody in the street and say, well, shit's going crazy.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, do Peruvians, do they go through this kind of integration process, or is this just something that we Westerners need because our culture doesn't allow for it?
Yes, I think it's a need of Western culture, because in my experience, I will put an example. With Shipibo shamans or Kokama shamans deep in the jungle, they give the people the medicine and like, go with yourself, and maybe you are in pain and screaming. Okay, I will tie you to a tree and work.
Okay.
So for them, they look at us that we have unnecessary problems. Too much thinking is the way the shamans look at us, and too much thinking. Quit. and it results to be like a cliche constantly,
Yeah,
but it's a huge truth
for sure.
for us. It's too many thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that was exactly the reason I came looking for ayahuasca. I couldn't calm down. I couldn't turn off
Yes.
the voices, and one voice is thinking about the future and one voice is thinking about things in the past, and yeah, I couldn't shut it off. So yeah, I think that's definitely a thing of us Westerners, that's
Yes.
too many voices.
Yes. We have too many divisions in our brain, they said also. We are separated.
I've got a question regarding sort of diversity of people within the group, because this is one question I've seen come up a lot, and I wasn't exactly sure what I thought about it, but it was basically asking, like, would it be beneficial to have, say, retreats all for people of colour, or retreats for all transgender people, or retreats for all gay people, say? Do you think, is there a benefit to that, or do you think it's better that we're just all people mixed together?
Medicine has no difference. So it will be okay anyway. If it's just a matter, maybe sometimes we have a Russian retreat all from Russia because it happens that way and it was good. And sometimes we are mixed and it is good as well. But medicine makes no difference. But in my opinion, I think it's beneficial to mix, because the exchange of energy and cultures and programming, if you want to put like that, it's beneficial because you can see the other like a mirror. You can be reflected and also have this feedback of cultures and mixed experience. So in my opinion, it will be good for being mixed. Everybody, yes.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think even with this, like, a group that we've had this time, you know, with sort of Natalie with a military background, and sort of, you know, Jason, who's this huge dude, and and yeah, these are not people I would mix with normally. Not deliberately, but just I don't hang out with military guys, and so it's I think having these mixed groups gives you a real insight into other people's lives, and
you break frontiers, you break through blockages, because we hang around with our own kind sometimes, and that is a challenge.
Yeah, it becomes an echo chamber.
Yes, that's the word. Yes.
So, what would you say to people who think that ayahuasca retreats are a rip-off for dickheads with more money than sense? Like, how can we put a value on this thing?
I think sometimes they are right to say that. Sometimes it might happen. It's a reality. But it's not the true essence of medicine. Again, when you seek medicines with your heart, because sometimes we cannot handle anymore. Sometimes we are seeking for the miracle to happen, but not with this. All the seekers find with this, with the heart. Maybe you are too strong-minded, or maybe you're stubborn, but it's your heart speaking. So it might happen like that some days, but it's not the real essence of medicine, and you will find that it always is happening from the heart and from the true instinct of us human beings to approach to the divinity, to God, to our inner things. That's my opinion about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Good answer. So I'm just going to go to a few of the questions that I picked up from some of my followers.
Yes.
Let's see. So this is a question similar to one with the shaman yesterday. It seems to an outsider that an ayahuasca ceremony is a kind of religion. Do you think that's accurate? And that if somebody has different spiritual beliefs, does it affect the experience at all, either negatively or positively?
Again, I will repeat, medicine makes no difference. So you will approach your religion in the way you need to approach. And maybe sometimes you discover you make a stronger bond, or maybe you discover that you feel that you're going with another way of thinking about be united with something, because you know religion is to be reunited with something, no? And sometimes many religions has taboos, so medicine helps to break those taboos. So I think it's beneficial for be an open mind and change our hearts about religions. Again, it's breaking through. So some religions maybe are tough with this, but at the end of the road, it's the human being with chooses the way it has to be, and sitting here and make the medicine, and that's all. No?
Yep.
Yes.
So what do you honestly think about foreigners like me who travel to the Amazon or to Sacred Valley for the purpose of ayahuasca? Do you think, is there any sort of negative effects that are coming with this kind of cultural explosion? Like, one that springs to mind is like agriculture. Like, is it sustainable for this to expand in this way, or is there any other sort of effects that you can think of?
I will say some words about this, which I come from Argentina. I'm South American. South American. I think it's good to heal the conqueror's wound. I think it's time. So I think it's beneficial for make peace with all of this situation, because we have that taboo in here. Maybe you coming from Europe and you have your own taboo with that. I will approach what they are going to think about me, and both sides the same. I think it's good and beneficial, and somebody who is going to ruin something, they don't need to come here to ruin things. They start ruining things in their own land.
Sure.
So that's my opinion about that.
Okay,
yes.
good. So how do you see the future of the Western world, say in like 50 years' time? Do you think we're actually on the cusp of some kind of spiritual awakening, or is it? That's sometimes how it feels, like we're on the edge of something. Something's happening. You know, do you share that opinion, or do you think it's kind of going to remain as this kind of subculture thing, or are we going to have like a global enlightenment in 50 years' time?
Oh, that would be wonderful. I think we are dancing with balance since ancient times. If you think about history, we have the times are medieval times with magic and approaching to nature and to spirit, and then we cover all, and then again a reborn, and then again burning witches, and then again it's like a balance dance for me. So I expect the same balance forever. I think maybe sometimes the darkness arises more, and then the light, and we are dancing all the time in this. But it's good for me to be a witness of this enlightenment of everybody of us, because we carry some darkness, a huge one,
for sure.
Huge one. And here you see, when we share our experiences, there's so much darkness, and even when we are childs, we suffer many abuses or sexual abuses, violence abuses. So it's good to see the awakening, being in this side of the dance. No, that is my opinion about.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Thinking about ayahuasca as a sort of a long-term treatment. So there's, when people first start investigating ayahuasca, it's a lot of the sort of rhetoric you will get is, you drink this one, 2 times, you go on retreat, and your depression is gone. Your sort of social anxieties are gone. But then sort of people find that they're coming back over. They need to come back. They need to sort of do some more work. is ayahuasca, for want of a better term, is it a cure? Is there an end point? Say if I have depression, am I going to reach an end point, or is it a case of just like I'm topping myself up with ayahuasca every year? Or
ayahuasca medicine itself and the way the shamans lead the medicine, it's very important. We have conscious shamans, and we have another ones which are not with a lot of consciousness. It's a reality, and it's part of the same balance, no? So in here, especially, we promote for the people healing themselves. So ayahuasca, yes, goes deep inside of you, showing you the root of the situations, but then you have to work.
yeah,
So that is important for maintaining your health, your spiritual health, no? And we encourage you to go less with the medicine, because naturally ayahuasca you will be needing less. It's not like another medicines that you will be needing more, no? So if you work with ayahuasca consciously, with guidance of course, you will heal yourself a 50 and a 50%.
yeah,
In ceremonies it's 100, maybe sometimes 90 ayahuasca. Of course you are suffering or struggling or opening yourself to strangers, to the shamans, and it's a huge task. But then when the retreat finish, you have to work at home, so it's a 50-50%. I believe ayahuasca take us the darkness. I witness many situations that people come in here to say, I will do ayahuasca because my next option is suicide.
yeah, yeah,
Many people like that. Even one guy one day showed me, I made my will. I made my will, so I'm not kidding. And he went through. He was success, and I like to be in touch in here, especially we are in touch all the time, and he's doing perfectly. But that again is a way for shamans to lead the passenger, the guest, and say you have to work. We have a wonderful guide for integrations, and you have other shamans maybe that they want for you to keep on coming.
yeah,
And coming and coming and coming. And it's no different between Western medicine. We have the same,
yeah.
no?
I think a lot of it as well is that, particularly Western people, they get so caught up in this afterglow, this feeling of this is amazing,
Yes.
and it doesn't last. It will drop off, and that's where you need to start doing the work to fill that gap. And then I think what I see a lot with sort of friends is that they feel amazing, but they're not doing the work, and then it drops off, and then they feel kind of bad again, and they feel kind of guilty that they didn't do the work.
Of course.
And then it's kind of like, well, I need more ayahuasca to pick me up, and it becomes like its own cycle then.
It's a cycle that they cannot break through, because we have to listen also and be consciousness about who am I, who are you. And it's the same way you work with ayahuasca that you work in your ordinary life. But ayahuasca gives you a consciousness, so it's important to receive the consciousness which belongs to each one of us. Ayahuasca is not giving anything that is new. It's like you're claiming your own with your heart. Show me what is mine by law, not spiritual law. So take that and work with that.
Yeah. Okay. So last question. This might have been a better question for the Shines, but hopefully you might be able to answer.
Yes.
Why is the Shipibo tribe willing to do this, to work with foreigners like us? Is it just something specific to that tribe, or is there any particular like motive that they have for wanting to do this?
Shipibo tribe, Kokama tribe, I worked with those two tribes. And also in here we have the Queros. In my country we have Koya, which is a lot of tribes. Tobas, which my grandmother came from. They all have compassion. They all have compassion. It's a matter like the same medicine, making no difference. Of course we have, again, the cultural wound that we are carrying, but it's all about compassion. You can go to the community of our maestros, and they are going to receive you with a smile and let's eat, let's dance. And when you're, sometimes when we cried about our issues, they look at you and they smile like, come on, don't go with that. They have compassion, naturally compassion, even when they carry that wound. And Western culture again carry that wound. It's both sides, it's not one side. It's all a matter of compassion. And is that the way that they lead the medicines and open your heart and your arms for every people that needs the medicine? No?
Yeah.
Yes.
I suppose that's certainly my experience of it. I think the preconception is when you think of tribes that they're very secretive and insular. You imagine like, I don't know, if coming across some kind of tribe in the jungle and you're the outsider and stuff, but it's like you say, they're full of compassion and very welcoming, and it's I think it's particularly us Westerners, we need to stop seeing this divide between like us and like we're the clever Westerners and these are the savages, this kind of thing.
Yes, but it's still we have those kind of issues still on the jungle, that sometimes we feel that even I'm South American but I look gringa, gringo, and so they might see you like, oh, gringa sometimes, but not in medicine. I didn't approach with those kind of shamans or people, but I heard stories. No, but it's not the way that the medicine is. I think it's more the compassion and the healing than the wound. No.
Yeah. So there was one question I wanted to ask the shamans yesterday, but since they weren't keen to answer it, what is your thoughts on life outside this planet?
Whoa, it's a huge one, because we're still afraid.
Yeah, for sure.
We're still afraid. So first, I think afterlife is to defeat fear. Then I have theories regarding to my ayahuasca visions. I was asking last night to the maestro, because sometimes I visit the Shipibo world, and I was saying, maestro, it's like we are going to our worlds, because maybe we come from different worlds or dimensions.
Yeah.
And he says, yes, it might be. And he was so close about it, but I feel like everybody of us comes from different place, or maybe it's one which is different rooms, or maybe you hang out with the same energies, I don't know. But yes, I think we go to another worlds. So that's why in ayahuasca sometimes we visit them. So for me they are true, they exist, they are in another dimension. Maybe we are speaking in here, and in here we have another world.
Yeah, behind the veil.
Behind the veils.
Yeah.
And also I will put them together with aliens. We are hoping the spaceship and looking up. And I think in medicine, spiritual world is extraterrestrial, like known on this earth. So another dimension can be the aliens.
Sure.
So for me, the same one.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think whatever form of life it is, it's going to be so weird and so alien that it's, I don't necessarily go for the little green men flying saucers thing, but I think it's closer to what you're talking about with like entities in other dimensions, because that's certainly what I've experienced in these visions, is some kind of intelligence. So it's,
Yes, and again, ayahuasca, I will remind you that is Aya means dead, and Huasca means vine, so it's the vine of the dead. I think somehow ayahuasca prepare us for dying.
yeah, I mean that was actually that was how I came to ayahuasca, because I had a due to my epilepsy, I became very fearful of dying. I had a couple of bad encounters, and it was stopping my life. And so I came to ayahuasca in desperation, and it just dissolved that fear of death. It didn't make me want to die,
Of course.
but that fear of it being taken away from me just brought right down, and it changed my life. Absolutely changed my life.
Absolutely, yes. I am agree with you because that's the way the medicine works. Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's all my questions. I just want to say thank you again so much. First of all, thank you for taking the time to do this, and thank you for your service this week. It meant the world to me. It was a beautiful thing to be a part of. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and also you are facilitating medicines to the world.
I do my part.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Thank you so much.